And we're live. Welcome to Someone's Good Books, the show that shines a light on really good books released during a challenging time. I'm your host, Joel A. Sutherland, author of the best-selling Haunted Canada series, and someone who can finally freely admit that he's been cutting his hair on his own for years. It's now cool to say that. My guest today is Ruth Ohi, illustrator of more than 50 children's books, several of which she has also written, including Fox and Squirrel, Shh, my brother's sleeping, and
Napping,
Scribble. I'm just kidding.
napping.
Oh, my mistake.
That's
Sorry about
okay.
that.
That's a good title. I could do a sequel.
There we go. Perfect. I like it. Yeah, he's gone from napping to
You're
sleeping
sleeping, hardcore.
to REM sleep. My brother is now in REM, so do
Yes,
not wake up.
I love it.
Her books have been nominated for many prestigious awards, including the Marilyn Bailey Picture Book Award, Mr. Christie's Award, and the Governor General's Award. She lives with her family and many backyard squirrels in Toronto, Ontario. Welcome to the show, Ruth.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Oh, my
doing this
pleasure.
during this time. This is a huge deal for people who are having their books out at this time. I just thank you so much. This is brilliant.
I'm glad to hear that. It was I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the show before, even on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere else. I've talked about it with each of the guests every week, but yeah, it was just something first I wanted to do something just to keep myself busy for my own mental well-being, something to put my energy towards, and then I was just seeing post after post from friends and fellow writers who were having books coming out during the pandemic, and I just thought, well, let's put these two things together. Let's have some fun, interview them, maybe give them a little extra, a bit of a boost right now. And I always said too that from the very first guest on, even if nobody tunes in and watches, we'll just have. It's just nice to
I
see
love
someone and
it.
talk to someone, right? So it's
I
for
love it.
me and for
Yes.
you. Well, that's great. Thanks so much for appearing on the show. If anyone in the chat wants to say hello, and I already see Tyler. Hey, Tyler. Tyler's a good friend of mine from Sault Ste.
Oh,
Marie. I met when I did a Force of
hi,
Reading event.
Tyler.
Yeah, a few years back. I went back 2 times. So I'm
Nice.
super glad you're here watching, Tyler. If anyone else has any comments, wants to say hello, or has any questions, please do put them in the chat, and we'll make sure to fit them in at some point before the end of the show. So with all said and done, are you ready to get started,
I
Ruth?
think so. Yep.
Excellent. Well, then,
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at your face on the screen. I
I
think I
know.
moved your screen
I'm,
underneath the camera, but it's
I think I'm looking at you now, but I'm really just looking at my bedroom wall. But you're over
okay.
there, I think, for the viewer. The
Okay.
magic, it's the magic of Facebook Live.
Okay.
Love it. Well, I think it's now time to get into someone's good books. So my first question for you, Ruth. Friends for Real was released on May 1st, 2020 by Scholastic Canada. In the spirit of the show, please tell us what makes it a good book.
Um, I've known Ted for quite a long time, and I love his writing. And when I first, how this actually started was Ted approached me and said that he would love to do a book with me, and that he actually worked well from images. So I showed him a bunch of sketches. And one of them, actually, he wrote a story for and showed it to Scholastic, who loved it, and it became a book, which I think is really cool. Yeah, right?
That is super cool.
I know. And, but I mean, still, reading the story, I just loved it right away. And right away, I wanted to illustrate it. There was no question. I mean, it came from my illustration, but it could just be for somebody else, right? And as soon as I read it, I just love the rhythm. I love the pacing. I love the words so much. And I love quirky, and I love kind of edgy, but I also love comfort, and I love cozy. And this one was so much and he left so much space for the illustrator. He didn't describe a lot of things in it. So as an illustrator, I got really excited going, oh, I can do so much with this. There's so much space to play in, to explore. So, and I think my kids, I remember, the comfy, cozy books, everyone needs those. And this one is just so cozy. And I think it's just such a feel-good book. But there is some there's some tension there. Um, but spoiler alert, it all works out. And just the way he writes, it's so lyrical, it's so lovely. And as soon as I read it, I thought, oh, I want to illustrate this.
That's awesome. What did you say? Quirky, edgy, yet comforting. I think those three words together perfectly describe Ted as a human as well as a
Yes,
person.
exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was thinking, yep, that's Ted in real
Yeah.
life, and obviously it's coming through in his writing as well.
Oh, it's wonderful. I was so excited. Yeah.
Fantastic. I have to ask. This is the most serious part of every show. I gotta
Okay.
ask, what's it like having a book released during a global pandemic?
Okay. So, um, I do a lot of school trips. I love school visits and I love library visits. But when this hit, most of my visits are booked in April and May, and they just disappeared, which was really, really rough. That was really, really rough. But I I learned how to because I had to learn how can I engage kids in a new way, in a different way, and my publishers were great. Annette Press and Scholastic, they allowed cover to cover read alouds, which
Amazing.
I remember as a mom, having fresh books, having new reading material for your kids is really helpful. It keeps kids, engaged in books and reading, excited about stories, and so to me, that was one way, a new way that I could get. I've never done a story time. I've never done a read aloud, and I did one for Chicken, Pig, Cow, and I did one for Fox and Squirrel Help Out, and so first time because of COVID. There you go, and I discovered Zoom, engaging classrooms through Zoom, and you know, schools are when they're the tech savviness of these teachers and kids. It's amazing. It's not the same as live. You don't have. I do a lot of hands-on with the kids when I'm live. I'm down on my hands and knees, which is why I always wear dark tops. Um, and talking to them and interacting. But with Zoom, you can still engage. So I learned that because of COVID. And I'm so excited about this new initiative started by Vicky Van Sickle, who I think was a guest.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
He
it. She's
was,
so
yeah, on
wonderful.
the second
So,
episode.
and Nazim Harab. Um, I went to both their signings. Vicky's book, Teddy Bear of the Year, and just fan.
Yeah.
So when they approached me and said, we're thinking of doing this new initiative, we'd like to reach out to kids and encourage, writing. I mean, it's so hard to focus, I think, and it's so hard to, it can be very hard to be creative, stay creative, and maybe help out some families a bit for that and educators. And so it's called Writing Relay, and it's on Twitter. So parents, caregivers, educators can type it, hand in through comments or DM, direct message, their kids' 1 to 3 line story starters. And then, seriously, Vicky and Nazim work on it? I mean, can you imagine?
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
want them to work on my stories.
I know.
Maybe I can do this.
They would charge good money for that for an
My name is
adult.
Ruth. No, not Ruth Ohi. This is my story starter. Can you help me write the rest? Vicky, I hope you're not listening. Nazim. And we're working with an amazing designer, Sylvia Chan, who puts it all together and makes us look great.
Yeah, and you do an illustration for
Yes,
the
right. That's right. I'm part of it. So
You're
anyway,
part of it too.
after
Don't forget.
Nazim, they take turns with the story starters, and we've had some amazing ones come in.
I've seen
Sylvia
some. They're
designs it.
fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
thank
great.
you.
Yeah, I
Yes, they're
love
so
them.
much
Love the
fun.
initiative.
Well, the kids, right? They do these, and then once they get Vicky and Nazim and Sylvia work on it, they hand it to me, and I get to illustrate it. And it's just this wonderful feeling for me that I love engaging kids, and this is just for me a very real way of I get to draw for kids, right? And hopefully, I mean, it could even go the other way. So sometimes I like to comment on. I don't try and draw every character in the story. It's like, what do you think the pirates would look like? You get to draw that part, or what do you think happens next? So the illustrations themselves can also maybe be a story starter. So it's this wonderful, yeah. And
Yeah,
we're
it's a great initiative. And there's been
oh
so many things like that that creative people have started during this time. Things to connect, new ways to connect with kids and families and teachers. One of the things I love about it is the fact that you could so easily now do presentations across the country or even around the world. Schools are going to be more willing, and public libraries too, to jump on and book an author that doesn't necessarily live really close to where they're located. Tomorrow
yeah.
I'm doing a Zoom author presentation at the Oshawa Public Library, which is a full 8 minutes from my house. So it's
Oh,
actually quite close, but that's just.
what? It could be in the
But you
dead of
could also do
winter.
presentations far away from home.
It could be in the dead of winter,
Could be.
and
You have to
so
go out.
it's really kind of opening up how people can engage with kids, and you don't have to worry so much about, oh, I don't know, it's that far away. Oh, wait a second. If you're on whatever platform, it's possible. So it's pretty exciting.
I love
So,
that positive spin on it. And we also have some positive comments from the chat. I just want to read out really quickly. The
oh,
first
please
one,
do. I'm
yeah,
so
the first
nervous.
one's good.
This is my
No,
first live. I only
well,
agreed because it's Joel, lovely Joel. Otherwise, because seriously, I'm so nervous. This is my first. But you know what? I'm
Ruth,
not.
you're doing great.
All I'm doing
You're
is I'm looking at
fantastic.
you and going, we're at a coffee shop.
It's just you and me chatting. You
Exactly.
know, I've got
You're
some
so great.
water here,
I've got
and
water. Just
yeah, we're
don't love
just
it though,
chilling.
because I'm afraid I'm going to get over.
Absolutely. And
And I
like I
think
said,
I
we've got
told
some.
you, like, even if we were at a coffee shop, like, I usually wear glasses, right? But
Right.
I'd have to be like this. It's just, I can't. So, I
Ruth,
mean,
Ruth, come back. You've
or,
gone too far
or,
away.
or I could sit here and pretend that I see you. Yeah. So, Joel, how's it going?
That's
So
right.
we're doing this,
Well,
and then,
this is some great, really positive comments. So the first one starts with a big yay, like I always do
oh,
Kermit flailing arms when I say yay. You're
nice.
interviewing one of my all caps favorite children's book authors and illustrators in the universe. Four exclamation points. It's from
Wow.
somebody I've never heard of, Debbie Ohi. I don't know if you know her. We'll just move along. We'll just keep moving because we'll not dwell on who that is. Next,
Oh,
Louisa Perella.
wait, my sister. You mean this sister?
Okay, okay, let's pause for a second. It is your sister. You've got her book there. It's a nice little plug.
Hi, Deb.
That's awesome. Louisa Perella is saying, hi,
Oh,
love
yeah.
Ruth's work. She loves your work. That's
Yeah.
great. And Louise McKinnon is saying, hello, Ruth and Joel. I read
Nice.
Sisters 10,000 times a day to my girls when they
Oh,
were little.
oh, that's so great.
10,000 times a day.
That book is based on my kids. So the cover shows what my kids look like at that age, Sarah and Annie. One was brunette and one had kind of blondie, reddish hair. Yeah, I married an Estonian, so he stomped all over my jeans. And he looked nothing like me. So, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So there you go. That's cool. All right, my next question for you, Ruth, is again about Friends for Real. It was created in a pre-pandemic world. Are you and Ted, by any chance, now working hard on Friends for Real 2 Zoom Playdate? The only
Now
way
we
those
are.
the only way those kids are going to be
I'm
able to
just
get
going to
together again.
text Ted. This is a great idea. Yeah.
Please do. Please do.
So I don't know. Ted did say that he had other stories because I gave him a bunch of sketches. So he said there are other stories, but we'll see. We'll see because it's actually writing is very very tough, as you know. So, but yes, we'll dedicate it to you, Joel. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got more ideas, plenty
Excellent.
more lockdown ideas for how two friends could connect. My son is actually, and my daughter, that's how they've been connecting. They've been using Zoom to speak to their friends. They've been
Oh, that's great.
still doing ukulele and dance lessons online with their teacher live.
Oh
And,
my gosh.
yeah, just like adults. Adults, of course, are doing this a lot, but young kids, my kids are 10 and 8, and they're just as adept with Zoom now as
Oh
I am.
yeah.
It's how they're connecting.
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely. That does not
yeah,
surprise me at all. Kids nowadays, they're teaching us sort of thing.
exactly.
But I love the dance. I'm doing Zoom exercises with some members of my family. I mean, it's just, it's technology.
Yeah,
It's a good thing. Yeah.
absolutely. Louise said that they connected to them with a big heart, I think to the book's sisters and her kids when she read them.
Oh, that's very
And
cute.
yeah,
That's
and
so
then Kate
sweet.
Riley says Children's Book Fest in Nanaimo is canceled this year. I think you attended 1 year, Ruth.
Yes, actually, I think I did three of them. It is serious. It's where I think I first met Ted. I
No
think,
kidding. Full
yeah,
circle.
he was wearing a mustard sweater, and I've told him this, and
Green so or red socks or
yeah,
something,
I don't know.
probably.
Yeah, probably, but
Yeah,
and then we met again. I mean, that's how you probably meet a lot of colleagues, right? Because we're all in our own
absolutely.
little worlds, and we're working, and it's kind of neat when we lift up our heads and go, "You're Joel Sutherland,"
Yeah,
or you're
yeah,
the, or that's how I met so many. And so the
that's right.
festivals are great for kids, but it's also great for us as creators to just kind of rejuvenate and kind
Absolutely.
of feel the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of rejuvenating, we've been all trying to find ways to relax during the pandemic. Personally, I can't draw. The only thing I can draw is a bath, which has been really great as a way to relax during these challenging times. But you specifically, I'm wondering, has drawing or anything else in particular helped you find peace and happiness?
Okay, first of all, I think everyone can draw
Okay,
because
yes,
I
you're right.
seriously,
You're
we're
right.
gonna
I
sit
shouldn't
down
say
and we're
that.
just no, but it's also just does everybody want to draw? I mean, I think everybody can draw, but do you really want to draw the same character and carry a story? And that's kind of different. But we'll talk. Our next coffee get together, we'll just bring a pen. I'll bring the paper, and we'll just
Nice. Excellent.
yeah.
I
Oh,
like
but there
that.
was a question. That was a segue.
There
So
was, and you
relaxing.
mentioned doing some Zoom exercise with friends or family
Yeah.
as a way to relax,
Well, more
and
just a way to yeah, connect, stay healthy, and support, I guess. Um, but also, okay, it depends. I do like I love drawing. I love it. But sometimes, as some creators know, you read you reach a kind of what is an equivalent of a writing block, and then the last thing you want to do sometimes is draw because I think I mean I don't know if other illustrators feel this way, but you get the feeling of I can't draw. Ah, this drawing sucks. This is terrible. And then what I find is not draw is to go away. And I find having things to do that aren't related to your work really, really good. Like I'll weeding the garden. You know what? When you yank a dandelion out, you don't have to worry whether you did a good job, whether there was enough subtlety to do that yank. No, it's weeded, okay? I mean, this patch of grass is weeded. You cannot doubt that. Look at that. Good job. It's a good job. Or washing dishes. This dish is washed. This rack of dishes, those are clean. Well, sometimes I miss a spot, but so things like, and walking, for me, the ultimate getaway is just taking walks with my husband and just walking. I mean, it doesn't have to be anywhere glamorous, just around the block, just walking
yeah,
and getting outside my head sort of thing. And not to be too cliched, but reading,
mm,
right? I think it's, life really, to me, something's lacking. And this sounds so cliche because I'm in the field, but if I don't have at least, if not three, one good book to look forward to, someone's good book, um, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm looking for a good book, but just something to cuddle up with in bed and just read a paragraph because my eyes are ready to close.
yeah,
So, because with reading you escape. I mean, I'm talking to the choir, but it's true,
absolutely.
right? I
It
mean, you
does.
must
It is
find that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And with
I
that,
think
and
you
soon drawing for you will just be, I'm so
once
tired of writing.
once we've had our lesson, once you've taught me in the ways.
Well, you're going to teach me how to write horror. I'm so
Okay,
excited.
I can do that. I can do that. My daughter actually, she can draw. She can draw really well. She
Oh,
did the logo. I don't think I've ever mentioned that on the show either, but that was my 8-year-old daughter who did this. As soon as she heard I was doing a show,
yeah.
she was like, "Daddy, I want to help,"
Oh,
and
that's
she wanted to do
good.
something artistic. So I said,
Yeah.
"You can do the logo." Yeah,
It's it's gorgeous. It's brilliant. You're very lucky to have her. You
I
must be
am
very
indeed.
proud.
Indeed.
Oh
Lori
yeah.
Strabel says, friend of mine, she says, we love reading lots of books on epic. Fantastic way to discover new authors. She actually messaged me earlier to say,
Uh,
before she saw my post on Facebook, but She had said that she had actually just got one of your books through Epic and was reading it with her kids. So
Oh,
that
nice.
was super cool.
Yay. Okay,
Yeah.
I've never heard of Epic. What is Epic?
Epic is it. You know what, Lori, if you know more about Epic, please, and you're still watching, add it to the comments so we can learn more and share it with everybody else.
Yeah,
Because
I don't
that's
know
something,
Epic.
even me as a librarian, I shouldn't admit that, but even I don't know Epic.
I've
There's
heard of
so many
Tumble
different,
Books. Like I've
yeah,
heard of
Tumble
Tumble Books.
Books, and we've
Yeah.
got Overdrive and Hoopla and
Right. Overdrive.
Cloud Library. Like, libraries have so many options, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming this is something like that, but Lori will let us know. Emily Smith says, my copy of Friends for Real arrived last week. I love it and
Yay!
can't wait
Thank
to share
you.
it with my
Yay!
nephews someday
Oh,
soon. Maybe we'll have a Zoom story time. She's saying she'll get
yes.
together with her nephews and read it to them. How
Oh,
cool is that?
and I hope you enjoy it. Oh, that's wonderful.
Super cool.
Wonderful.
And Kate Riley as well, who mentioned about Nanaimo before, said, when
Yes,
I feel lonely, I grab a book and then I'm alone no more. Isn't that nice?
it's true. Because it's when oh, by the way, it's immersing yourself in another world, right? Or just kind of grounding yourself. That's what books will do. Or, I mean, when I do I do get stressed about either, just stuff out there, or I worry about family, or I worry about friends, then I do turn to my art. I mean, it's just that if it's work related, then no, if the drawing's not going well, no, I just want to draw into the ground, then I go do something else. But if it's, outside, then I just want to work. I just want to work because the craziness or the worries, and then what I do is I just go, okay, I'm going to work on this book. I'm going to work on this project. My head's down and time goes by and I feel like I've accomplished something, it grounds me. It just helps bring some, I guess the best word for it is I really feel grounded. And I do feel lucky because my kids are older now, and so they don't, I feel for the parents who can't do that because hello, right? Because you have so much happening in your life and it's lovely, it's wonderful, but you can't just go, excuse me, I need a moment. I'm just going to write a book now. So
yeah, can you make your own dinner tonight? Because
exactly.
my muse is calling to me.
Yeah. So see, I know I have it very easy. I mean, parents during this time, great sympathy and, as far as but I know that, I've been reading, I read 2 newspapers, just some of the stuff that people get so creative during this time.
Absolutely.
And also you make do.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, Kate also said that Zoom is great. She says our Wee Island children's story time is continued weekly on Zoom. I'm curious to know how wee her island is. Is that Prince Edward Island or much smaller? I'm curious to know where she lives, but that's true. A lot of libraries are, of course, using Zoom or Facebook Live or other mediums to carry on with programming too. All right, moving along on to, my goodness, we're flying through it. Question 5. You've written 4 Fox and Squirrel books in which they've made a friend, helped out, and had the best Christmas ever. I have to ask, does Squirrel know what foxes do to squirrels in the wild? And I Googled just to make sure, because I imagine that foxes would dine on squirrel, but I wasn't sure. I was like, well, maybe not. I looked it up. They do.
Yeah. Yeah. And my eldest daughter has mentioned too that, the fox and squirrel heads are very, very big. They must have telescoping spines. But you know what? It's my fox and squirrel. Where that came from actually, and it's true. In the real world, they would never get along. But I think that's what brought the story about. Because, I have tons of squirrels in this neighborhood, tons. And we have foxes, which is really cool. Not cubs like they have down at Lakeshore, but and then I just noticed, and I love watching them. But then one day I noticed that these 2 animals that I enjoy watching, and foxes have been a long time favorite of mine. They both have bushy tails, right? And they both have pointy ears, and they both need to eat and do all these things. And to me, that was very similar to humans, to us, that we look different. And I guess this comes up from, growing up. As in my grade, I was the only Asian, and that whole thing. And where I grew up, it was wonderful. People were wonderful. But, just the idea that you can look so different, but can you find enough in common to try and get along? And that's where this book came from. And so the rest of the series is basically these two friends or people who look so different. They work together to overcome problems or issues in their different ways and being themselves. They don't try and conform. They don't try and be like each other. In fact, the very first book talks about, one lives in a nest, one lives in a burrow. And which is really funny because so that's about celebrating your trying to get along, right? If you look different. And I did another book called Scribble. So obviously this is an important issue to me, or something that really is in my subconscious. And it's called Scribble. And I was noticing shapes, and shapes are very different. And I thought so much of what I see out there, I guess, or we see out there, traffic lights, buildings, houses, are made of shapes. And those shapes are working together to be a whole new wonderful thing. And so that's what Scribble is about. So using your differences, you can make great new things. So it's two different ways of looking at differences.
So, I love that. I love that. It just sums up perfectly what's so great about stories in general, but so much so about picture books, is that, it can be just such a simple, beautiful story with these charming illustrations and something that kids love, parents love, but there's all these layers to it as well. Things that maybe are a little more under the surface about acceptance and differences and getting along together. I mean, I just love that. I love hearing about this sort of stuff in these interviews that I never would have known otherwise. So cool. So cool. We do have a couple more comments now, and I'm afraid they're going to get bumped down before I would be able to get to them. I know. This is a good problem to have. Linda Carino said, I loved her before, but even more now. So there you go.
Thank you. It's my first time live. I'm super nervous. and I actually look like this, okay? But okay, there we go. That's what I look like.
Kate was saying that she lives on Protection Island where Thora lives.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Thora, she's wonderful. Oh yeah, Vancouver, the Vancouver Children's Festival.
Such a beautiful. I should have known that. I don't know why I went to the East Coast in my mind thinking PEI. Of course, she lives there west with Nanaimo, the book festival there. Lori's telling us a bit about Epic. So she says it's a program through the schools that is now free due to the pandemic. They have so many fantastic books. They have audiobooks, read to me, and all kinds of subjects. And they're great for kids of all ages. They earn badges for books they read, and it's a great motivator and wonderful way to discover and explore reading at any age and level. That is cool. So we're learning right there. Yeah. I feel a little bit better that it's not a public library program or service.
Right.
So that's why I hadn't heard of it. Off the hook. Any librarians are watching. I'm not going to have my librarian card revoked tonight. That's good. Kate says Fox and Squirrel are great. Big fan of Fox and Squirrel.
And I wanted to bring up too, when I talk to kids, I tell them that because it's interesting how some kids, I think it's the older grades, they feel like I can't write. I don't know what to write about, and I just want them. I really, hopefully these books when I show and I talk about I show pictures of my house and this was just happening in my backyard. Look, this squirrel was in my backyard. This fox was on my street. Stories that you find in your life, your stories that come from your own life can be the best ones,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely true. And Linda says again, such positivity, love that. So there you go. Well, I've got one more question for you, Ruth. One more question, then we'll let you go, and you can draw or read or do whatever else you'd like to do.
Draw a bath.
Exactly, draw a bath. I think that sounds pretty good. From chicken, pig, cow to my brother's napping. I got it right here. I didn't get it right in the bio and the intro. I got it right here at least.
New story idea. I'm going to go write it.
New story idea. It's a sequel, potential sequel. To No Help Wanted. Your characters are all absolutely adorable. Characters in my books, the ghosts, the monsters, the villains, are decidedly less adorable. Do you think it's possible that there's an alternate dimension out there somewhere in which we could ever collaborate?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. It starts
I
with
wasn't expecting such an enthusiastic yes. I love it.
I think we could do that. We could do that right now. We could do the drawing right now. Okay, we're
Right
gonna
now?
do yes. Okay, how about
Okay.
let's create a monster. We're gonna do a monster for your
Yes.
next book. It's gonna be
Amazing. Let's do
yes.
this.
We're
I
gonna
love
do
it.
this is my drawing board that I've kept since I don't think I've told anybody this. First on someone's good book from
There
art
we go.
college.
Breaking news.
Yeah, art college, and this is my grandpa's clip.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
All right.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I have. Oh, and Louisa who wrote in. Her husband, we're old friends from university. Her husband Reed, that's the desk that I draw on. Yeah, that's what I create all my books on. It's a big wooden one from his father. This art lamp, this is my original one from my high school days. So my office is very, very simple. To do the read
But
aloud,
sentimental. Yeah.
so, very high tech. What I do is, my husband did this. He invented this. Using 6 elastic bands, I strap my camera onto this, and that's how I do the read alouds or any live drawing
love it.
demos.
I love it.
I'm so, and I
We've
said,
been using a paper towel roll holder with a couple of rubber bands and our
Yes.
phone for the dance and the ukulele for my kids to put it up so they can watch. And yeah, you make do with
Creativity.
what you have, right?
It's all about you know what I mean? That's what happens.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
can't
let's
get
make a
out of this.
monster. People
We're
are
gonna
enjoying
do-
this.
we're
Lana
gonna
Button
do
says
this.
she'd love to see the collaboration.
Okay.
Louise says so amazing. Kate says this is so much fun. Thank you, very entertaining. People are in. Let's make a monster. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So you're a monster. Let's think. Now, as an author, how many eyes? Is he slimy or scaly? How many?
Okay.
Let's ask. Audiences can help too. All right.
Sure.
So how many eyes?
Okay, so eyes. I'll get it started and say let's start with 3.
3
If
eyes.
anyone wants to see any more eyes, chime
Can
in.
we see? Are we seeing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So
Yeah, looks good.
1, 2, 3.
Good.
All right. Okay. And
People are gonna have to
scaly
type
or
in fast.
slimy?
Let's go slimy.
Slimy.
Slimy. I'm
We've
such a big
got
fan
slimy.
of it.
And does your monster have horns? And if so, how many?
I would like horns with a bow on one of them.
Oh, of course you do. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have horns.
So chat, if anyone watching wants to add any details, is it okay if they just type in anything they want, like clothes or facial features or
Absolutely.
whatever else they can think of? Okay.
Legs
Anyone
or
watching?
tentacles? Legs or tentacles, people? We need help from the audience.
Yeah. So there's a slight delay.
Legs or
But
tentacles?
Go with tentacles.
Tentacles.
Like I say, if anyone's watching and wants to type in anything they want to see added to this live drawing of our
There we go.
collaborative monster, type it in.
And what kind of mouth? Big, little, toothy?
Can we do big and toothy?
Big and toothy. It could be a beak. It could be a trunk. The world is open to you,
Okay.
people.
We're getting some. Louise wants 10 tentacles. It looks like you've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think she wants to double the
10.
tentacles.
I'm gonna make them smaller. And what I do is I do this. Oh, by the way, you know what I use for paper? I
Yeah.
use old layouts. Can you see that?
Perfect.
It's an old Fox and
Yeah.
Squirrel rough layout. Because
I love that.
this is quick because I get too
Yeah.
nervous on fancy paper and it's expensive. So okay, so 10. So what I do is I'm gonna just place another piece of paper over. Hold on.
She's now apologizing.
No, this is exciting.
For all
I'm
the
so
extra
excited.
work.
1.
Doubling
We're
the
counting up
tentacle.
that. If you're at home, say it. 2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
9.
9.
Cheating there. 10. Yeah.
Love it.
Tentacles. And the
Emily
mouth.
would love.
What's
Well,
that?
first, Emily would love to see some polka dots.
Polka dots. Yeah.
Kate would love to see a bow tie.
A
I
bow
think that would
tie.
look very good. Yes,
A
very
ve- a
fancier
very-
than me even right now.
Dapper bow tie.
Very
There we
dapper.
go. Okay, we're
We're getting
working on
lots
the
of-
mouth here.
Lots of
Oh.
yeses and yays. No
Yay.
feedback for the mouth. So I would say maybe a nice, big toothy grin.
A big toothy grin.
Yeah.
Big.
Anyone else?
Big toothy. Oh, scary! Look at that. Is that her? This is Ruth being. I wish I had a red. I have a red marker. Wait. I can do this. There. One hand. There we go.
Amazing. Such talent.
Here,
Is this
look at
blood? Are we
that.
getting some? Yes.
Or
Blood
it could
covered
just be a
fang.
gum line. He doesn't floss. This is to encourage the flossing out there, Joel. Okay. Anything
This
else?
is a nice message.
My mother-in-law's a dentist. Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Actually,
She'll
my niece is
appreciate it.
too. Yeah. So,
Louisa says it's hilarious.
okay, now we
Loving
gotta
this
do a
monster.
toothbrush.
It should be a little scary too.
Little. This is scary.
Right? It's hilarious and scary.
There.
Kate says talent for sure. Oh,
There.
there. Now it looks. Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Louisa wants a tail.
A
Is there room for
tail.
a
We've
tail?
got a tail. Of course,
Yeah.
we have room for a tail for Louisa. We always have room.
More paper.
Room.
Emily loves it. She appreciates. I think it was the bow tie she asked for.
There
Oh, we've got a recommendation for a name.
Oh, yes.
Are we ready for the big reveal to write? You might have some space somewhere on the paper.
Right here.
COVID Charlie. That is scary.
COVID.
COVID Charlie with a bow tie and a bow on a horn too.
Charlie.
Love it.
I'm working with
Kate.
400 pieces of paper here. Can you see this?
It's so good.
But see,
Kate
this
says
is the
it's the
beginning of a
most-
great flipperama. After COVID's over, look, we could do. Look at this. Oh my gosh. We could do.
It looked like
Charlie.
COVID Charlie was dancing when you were flipping the
I
page
know.
up and
This
down.
is the beginning of flipperama. And
Yep.
tail wagging. Oh my goodness.
Dave
Poor
Pilkey would be
Charlie.
proud.
Poor Charlie. Oh, and then we can do, of course. Ah! Uh-oh. Wait. Reading Charlie. Okay, I have to do that. I'm in kid lit.
Less scary.
Well,
Definitely less scary than.
Yeah, now he's not scary anymore. There we go.
Not at all. Fantastic,
And we
Ruth.
have to say hearts, because we
I love
love
it. You
being
do
on
it.
someone's good books. Yay.
Aw, thank you. Kate says it's the most she's laughed all day, and she laughs a lot.
Oh,
So that's saying
yay.
something.
Yay.
That is amazing. That is awesome. Well, thanks for that. We've now officially collaborated.
Yeah.
We both work with Plastic. We'll just send it in to our publisher, and
I think it's going to happen.
we'll be off to the
Charlie.
races.
Absolutely. This has been so good. Yes.
I can't even say that name without laughing. I love it so much. All right. Well, that was such a fun way to end the show, Ruth. But before we do go, I have one last thing. This is a part of every show. Since I started, this is now the 5th episode.
I'm a fan. I know what's coming. I'm a fan. You know what's
you've watched before. Spoiler alert. Since the beginning of quarantine, there's been very little reason for any of us to wear shoes. So socks have taken center stage. Therefore, I thought it would be fun to always show off some of my funky socks and maybe see my guests' funky socks as well. So I'll go first. Let you have some time to prepare. Now, my sock drawer, this will surprise no one, is filled with ghost and monster socks. And I wear a different pair to every school visit. But for today, I had to wear one of my most cheerful, happy pairs of socks. It is Mickey Mouse socks from my happy place, Disney World, of course. I had to wear, one of my favorite animated cartoon characters. Love Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I had to go with today.
Oh, my gosh. You went
Just
happy.
in honor
I'm
of it.
so honored. Oh, my goodness. I wish I had horror socks or something, but
It is
to
good
be
too.
honest, I don't have a lot of fancy socks because I love giving them as gifts. I mean, I've given away ninja socks and cat socks and coffee socks at OLA. Of course, online they have all these most amazing socks, and they make great gifts. But I do have, because I have.
Let's see what you got. Yeah.
Llama slippers.
Oh, that's raising the bar. You saw my funky socks and raised me with a funky slipper.
To be honest, these are on loan from my daughter, who is very sweet, and let me wear these because mine are mouth socks. But I just thought I just kind of upped the bar here, and I just thought, you know what? Llamas, because llamas are trending, I think, right?
They totally are.
So,
they're very popular.
They're a little dressier, I think. This little matches the
And
sweater.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't llamas currently part of the whole testing to find a vaccine for COVID-19 as well?
I read something about that too.
Seriously, topical slippers.
COVID slippers, yes. Well, I'll wear these to our signing Joel,
I
okay?
love it.
For our boy.
Please.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for that, I'll wear some monster socks. I didn't know we'd be
Excellent.
creating such a scary character together,
I
or else I
know.
would have worn some scary
I
socks.
know.
Look, the chat is going nuts. People love the drawing. Everybody said they loved
Oh,
it. It's
good.
gone so much that I can't even see them because all the comments, because so many keep coming up and bumping them
Thank you
down.
for
People love,
coming. Thank
yeah,
you for
people love the
coming,
socks. They
everyone.
love your slippers.
Yay.
It's so much fun. So listen, as I always say at the end of the show, that don't forget, if you're watching this, that you can order all of Ruth's books from any of your favorite online book retailers, and make sure to support your local independent bookstore, even if they're not open yet. Many of them are offering delivery or curbside pickup. So please do support them and look for Ruth's books that way. Thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. Stay home, everyone. Wash your hands. Read Canadian. Take care.